Here is a brief overview of glycogenesis. Similar to glycolysis, glucose is phosphorylated by hexokinase in muscle cells and glucokinase in liver cells to form glucose-6-phosphate. Afterwards, the enzyme phosphoglucomutase with cofactor magnesium ion isomerizes glucose-6-phosphate to glucose-1-phosphate. Through the enzyme UDP-G1C pyrophosphorylase, which is a transferase, glucose-1-phosphate reacts with UTP or uridine triphosphate to form UDP-GIC or uridine diphosphate glucose, which is an active nucleotide and pyrophosphate. Pyrophosphatase then catalyzes the hydrolysis or cleavage of pyrophosphate to phosphate. Glycogenin then catalyzes the transfer of 7 glucose residues from UDP glucose to form a glycogen primer. We then proceed to the rate-limiting step, wherein glycogen is formed through the action of glycogen synthase and branching enzyme. The branching enzyme, which acts as a transferase, then transfers part of the alpha-1,4 linkage to a neighboring chain to form and create further branching. Now that we have a clearer idea about what glycogenesis is, we can now go back to Sammy's disease, glycogen storage disease type 0. It is a rare autosomal recessive disorder rooted in the deficiency of the enzyme glycogen synthase. This rate-limiting enzyme is crucial for our bodies to create glycogen, as it catalyzes the formation of glycosidic bonds between the carbon 1 of the glucose in UDP glucose and the carbon 4 in the terminal glucose residue of glycogen. Without this, the amount of glycogen that the liver or muscle cells can store will be depleted. In general, this deficiency is due to mutations in the GYS1 or GYS2 genes, responsible for the formation of glycogen synthase. The GYS1 gene encodes for an enzyme called muscle glycogen synthase, while the GYS2 gene is for the liver glycogen synthase. Since there are two versions of the enzyme encoded by the aforementioned genes, a deficiency in one would manifest differently from the other. When a person who suffers from liver GSD does not eat, their blood sugar levels can get very low, manifesting as fasting hypoglycemia and other conditions shown above. On the other hand, a person who suffers from muscle GSD tends to experience a different set of clinical manifestations, as better seen in Sammy's case. Let's try to determine and explain the specific symptoms Sammy experienced in the following portions.